I felt so alone and so helpless, and that nobody was there for me. I couldn't have been proven any more wrong. That like social media truly transformed it to where I found another family. I found more friends who related to every single thing that I was going through.
Yo, I'm Bryce the Third.
And I'm Liz McKean.
And you are now tuned in to the Rise, Recover, Live podcast. Here we dive into all the recovery stories from around the world.
And we talk about all pathways because there's no one right way to recover.
If you've been with us for a while, you know how powerful stories are. So get ready for your community to get just a little bigger today.
We are so glad that you're here. Let's get into the show.
Liz, what up? How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm all right. I ain't gonna lie. I'm missing the magic fairy lights from behind you. I mean, I know you was trying to save cats' lives, but you know, it was like the sprinkle of magic that I needed for my day when I came to the show.
You're giving me too much credit. They just broke it. Like, that's why I took it down, because they
it wasn't a conscious decision. It was like, this is done.
They chewed through the wire that made them bright. So yeah, it was the cats. They've always liked to chew through cords, and we've had to make adjustments in our lives for that. And sometimes that adjustment is no more sparkly lights. For now.
So I've always had kids, as everybody who listens knows. Like, I've had kids since I was 2, but I've always wanted a cat, right? And I think, you know, just like with kids, people want kids, but like, since I've always had kids, I'm like, there's some things about kids that I think you're not including in that sentence saying that you want kids. I feel like that's my thing for cats, because I always want a cat, but like, I don't want things walking around chewing on and things that I like.
Yeah, it's not just chewing. Sometimes they pee on things that you like. Sometimes they do. Yeah, I tell you, they are just.
All right. Before we started the camera on, you talking about poo. Now you talking about pee. Welcome to the Rise, Recover, Live podcast.
You know, you gotta love the parts of me that aren't so pretty.
That's what we do. That's what we dig into.
That is what we do.
But I am excited for our guest today.
Me too. Yeah. Talk about sparkles. I'm just very excited to bring
so
her energy on.
This guest, I think we got an email just to inquire about opportunities to contribute to the community within the Phoenix New Forum. And I took a look at this person's Instagram page, and I'm like, wow, this is dope. It's professional looking. It seems authentic and organic, and this person's young too. And so I love to elevate and platform like young conversation around sobriety, recovery, behavioral health. And so it was an immediate like, hey, here goes the link. Like, no things to hoops to jump through. Like, come on the show. And then this person immediately said, here I come. And so here we are. So who do we have here, Liz?
We have the wonderful Calli Nguyen. And Calli is a Vietnamese and AAPI social media influencer, a foodie, and a mental health advocate, and all around a lovely human being. And I can't wait to learn more about her. So welcome. How are you?
Calli, what's up?
I'm doing very well. Thank y'all for having me. This is such a huge pleasure.
How's your energy today?
My energy is going high. It's really optimistic. I'm really hopeful for what's to come.
I love that. What is the AAPI? What is that?
Asian American Pacific Islander.
Oh, okay. Is that like a resource group or like a club or like
community? So it's like a whole virtual community. Yeah.
Oh no, that's dope. And so there's like a specific community of creators within that community.
And it's like a racial group. So you have the Asians, you have the Indians, Vietnamese, Chinese, etc. All of us are a part of the AAPI community.
Like BIPOC, I feel like.
Oh,
I
like
feel
BIPOC.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Which is which is so cool, because I feel like we don't, like, you are a voice that is really important in this conversation, and like the behavioral health and the recovery conversation. I mean, really, in general, we need more diversity in voices. Absolutely. And obviously there's more that you bring to the table than that part of your identity. But I appreciate that you kind of led with that too, because there's somebody listening that, you know, is like waiting for you. So thanks for coming.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I appreciate that a lot.
Yeah. I think diversity is dope in the way that like
episode title right there.
I mean, I'm saying like diversity is dope in a way to where it's like you need more of these voices And like these voices exist, like they're already existing. But like we've already been having this experience, so like they do exist, and so it's cool that you're here, and we're super excited for like your individual story and the journey that led you to this point. But first, if you're a foodie, what's your favorite food?
Oh, okay. So right now, like it's crawfish season. So like peak right now, I love me some good crawfish. And I can see, I'm like looking at your face. I'm like, does he know what crawfish looks like? Does he know what crawfish is?
I know what I think I know what crawfish is.
You weren't impressed. I was like,
they got it in New Orleans, right?
They do.
As a matter of fact, I don't like crawfish. This is the reason why. So it's not that I don't like them, but like I felt like I always
Every
knew it.
Louisianian is just offended.
Oh no, we've lost.
I felt like I always knew what they were,
Okay.
and I got like a seafood boil in New Orleans that was crawfish, and then I'm like, I don't know what these are because there's so much work for so little like meat.
Oh, whatever. We always get that comment, but you know what? It's good. It is so good.
Yeah, it was good. It was good for the first three, and I'm like, I'm tired of this. I just ate the sausage and like just caught it.
No, that's a valid take. I can take that. But right now, crawfish is like my favorite food right now, just because it's in peak, and whenever it's not in season, then everybody's wanting. It's like Chick-fil-A on Sundays. You crave it whenever it's not.
When you can't have it.
Other than crawfish, I love me some good homemade Vietnamese food from my dad.
No, that sounds amazing, especially on a day like today. I feel like when I hear Vietnamese food, the first thing I go to is pho, and like so like the soupy, warm, on a chilly day like today, clutch, absolutely clutch,
delicious.
What got you into creating content and kind of just sharing about your food journey or your journey around recovery, like in the public, in the open?
Yeah. So initially, it didn't really start off with me becoming a content creator. My entire life was solely focused on studying, and I was en route to going to med school, and all I had known was how to be a student and just study, study, study. And then eventually, I felt a lot of burnout. So, kind of content creation was my relief away from all the studying and being a student. But, like, I didn't realize that it was actually content creation. I just like to post online. Like, whenever I was out with friends, I was always that girl that was whipping out her phone and just filming her friends, and all my friends were like, "Why are you recording this? Like, there's no like, nothing is, like, interesting." But now I do that, but now I know how to make all that footage look aesthetically pleasing and fun and relatable to everybody else. So, eventually, the content creation became sort of like a really great stress relief that then became a hobby, that then became one of my careers. So right now I'm focused on content creation full time. I allowed myself to give myself a break from all the studying and being a student because I've been in school for about 21 years, long time. I needed a break. I deserved a break. So we're on a much needed break.
Yeah. Yeah. And you have a master's in, is it public health?
Health administration.
Health administration? Like that is like, holy smokes.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Just casual master's in health administration. That's incredible. So how does that all work together? Because I think the coolest thing about the time that we're living in, and then also about, I just feel like the recovery community and anybody that has any kind of identification with this, just again, like behavioral health in general, like we make connections and like pull every part of ourselves into every single thing that we do. And there's usually such a wide array of things that we're doing. So like, how does that all integrate for your world?
So for me, one of my biggest goals in life is to just be able to make an impact. And whenever I was really having to reflect with myself, because I lost myself for a long time, I was asking myself, like, what do I even want to do with my life? You know, there are so many different avenues. I have so many different passions. What is the end goal? And whenever you take into consideration healthcare and medicine, content creation, I love traveling. I love being able to like eat food and, you know, share and showcase that part of my life. The end goal was to be able, one, to be a proud and strong representation for the AAPI community and for underrepresented groups and minorities, and also to be able to lend a voice to those who need their voice to either be found or amplified. And so with all of those different avenues, that's how I like integrating everything into one. No matter what I'm doing, my main goal is just to be able to make some sort of impact. So that's where healthcare medicine obviously come into play, but I was like, I feel like I need more, you know? I don't wanna just wake up every day and go into the clinic and see the few tens to hundreds of people every day, every week, and make that physical impact. I want more. So that's where
Mm.
content creation came into play, where I wasn't able to just, like, maybe make a physical impact because it's harder to make a physical impact on those from around the world via social media, but I was able to make this grand impact on those in, like, the mental health space, and I was able to reach those far and wide rather than just solely in my small hometown.
Yeah, I love that.
Thank you.
How did that shift? So I think if I read correctly, I think you said you hit a year without alcohol in
Yes.
February. Is that right? So first of
Yes,
all,
so
like,
I hit my year of
amazing.
sobriety from thank you, my year of sobriety from alcoholism and self-harm, so both of them.
Yeah, that's
Thank you.
huge.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Snaps to that. Snaps to that.
It's a big
Congratulations.
deal.
Thank you. It was not an easy journey. It was not an easy journey by any
That's
means. But
huge.
No.
I was actually talking with one of my best friends, and her dad is, he's also on his sobriety journey. A couple, I think maybe over a decade, and he told me that the first year is always the hardest. And that was like that was the first time I ever heard of that. And I was like, wait, no, like that's actually so true. The first year is
Mm,
Yeah.
always the hardest, and I never would have imagined like the peaks and the hurdles I would have been able to encounter throughout the journey.
mm. You know what's funny about that? I'll have, I think I'm coming up on 12 years in July. And the
Congratulations.
one thing that I love to hear every year and that I tell all my sponsees that in the program that I'm in is, now the real work begins. And the first time I heard that, like, it pissed me
No.
off. Like, what do you mean now the real work begins? Like, that was the hardest year I've ever had in my life. But it's like, hey, man, you know, that constant reminder that I can't sustain today off of the work that I did yesterday. But the beautiful thing is I'm able to move off of the momentum of the wisdom that I've been able to cultivate in days past, if that makes sense. And so, but 1 year, man, anytime I hear that, that's major.
Thank you.
Congratulations for that.
Appreciate it.
And we love to see it. When you talk about you lost yourself,
Mhm.
I can relate because I just found myself a week ago. Like, I lose myself
That's
like
so real. That's so real.
every 2 weeks. I'm like Eminem's cousin.
Oh.
But what did that journey look like to lose yourself, as well as to have the awareness that this thing was going on, where you felt like that you were lost?
Yeah. So, like you said, I feel like I lost myself so many times, and then I found myself so many times. So it was just like a constant battle. The first time I vividly remember this was back in 2021, and I had gone through kind of like the worst breakup. It was I got out of a physically abusive relationship in 2020, and obviously we know what happened in 2020 with COVID, and all hell broke loose around the world. So there was a lot to deal with mentally, financially, physically, everything. And I had a really bad drinking problem to where it was almost as if I would come home from school every day and like the slightest thing that would annoy me, like road rage or my teacher upset me or this girl in the hallway like was walking too slow, like any sort of minute thing that annoyed me, I was like, I need a drink. And it started where it was like 1 week, 1 day a week where I would drink, and then it became like every other day, and then it became every day. I was like, "Okay, I just like drinking. Like, I don't have a problem. I just like a little shot, just to take the edge off." But then my mom actually kind of not really intervened and had a lecture because my mom she's such an angel. She's so gentle where she doesn't like to control my life like that, but she was saying that she was concerned because I had been drinking a lot. And so I was like, you know what? Maybe I am, because then a couple of my other friends started noticing it. So I was like, I'm gonna put all of my liquor on the top shelf. We're not even gonna think about it. I was maybe sober for, like, a good couple of days, maybe a week, and that was pretty much it, and then got back into the drinking, and the drinking wasn't as bad, especially whenever I was, like, in college, partying out with friends. It wasn't as terrible, but then my senior year of college, it was a couple of months before I was graduating, so this was around February to March of 2022. And we had actually been preparing for my grandmother to have her heart surgery, and she ended up doing really well after the surgery. She was doing really great post-op, but there were then a lot of complications afterwards, and it just all kinda went downhill from there. So I found a lot of solace and comfort in trying to just take any of the pain away,
Mm,
and a lot of the hurt. So that's where the alcohol came. That's where all these other different substances came into play. And I felt so numb and so hurt that, like, I got to a point where I couldn't feel any happiness, and I
mm,
also couldn't feel, like, any anger, and I felt that it was a lot easier for me to feel anger rather than to feel happiness, so that's where more the drinking came in. So I kinda just, like, lost myself for a lot during that time, and then, my uncle, he had actually passed away about 16 days after my grandmother's funeral. We found him, and his substances were laced with fentanyl, and that was also
mm,
probably, like, the worst time ever of my life. I found myself going to the bars, like, every weekend, every other weekend, and my friends were like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "No, like, I don't wanna be here, like, on Earth, but it's not because I hate my life, but it's because I wanna be with my family members who aren't here anymore."
mm,
So I lost myself for a lot of that time, and then got into a relationship after I graduated. It was really great, and in a sense where it kind of just healed a lot of the broken pieces of me. We then broke up, and then that's whenever all hell broke loose again, and the drinking got so bad, to where I couldn't really even recognize myself, and I was drinking because I knew that I could get his attention or that I could get somebody's attention. I just wanted some I was like a cry for help in a way.
Yeah.
So I lost myself again, and that was the very last time, so, like, about a year ago where I was like, I'm not myself. My family got involved. I lost all my friends. I got fired from my job, not because of the drinking, just from other things. And I was unemployed, in credit card debt, maxed out on my credit card. Family wasn't supporting me, no friends, didn't have myself. And it got to a really bad place where I'm like, God, like, just take me out. Like, I'm ready.
mm,
Because I felt like I didn't really have anything left to live for at that point. And I found a lot of comfort in God, and that's where I just like found myself again. I'm like, I gotta like get my life back on track. Because I also felt like my uncle telling me like, this is not the life you're supposed to be going down. Like you're literally following down my path.
Mm.
And the more you keep going down, the more you're gonna get into more trouble. So I was like, okay, I need to get my life back together. So that's where the sobriety journey came into play, and it was so hard starting it at first because that meant saying goodbye to the old life that I had, all the
Yeah.
partying, all the friends I had made along the way with all the partying, and being in your early to mid-20s and starting your sobriety journey, that's honestly, like, not really heard of around, especially from Louisiana, especially because like, in the city that I live in, it's heavy partying. I live near, like, LSU's campus, so LSU is, like, a big party school.
mm,
So, just, like, trying to stay sober in that type of environment is really, really hard. I wouldn't say impossible, of course, 'cause, we got there, but it was a really difficult journey that
Mhm.
I lost myself on. And the only way that I was able to find myself was just literally losing anything and everything.
Yeah.
hmm. When you decided, hey, sobriety is probably the way for me, how, what did you lean into in that time where your entire environment in your life reflected what you had been living? Like, what did you lean into to help you embrace a new way of life?
So there's 2 things. One, there was a lot of therapy that, I had to go through, a lot of talk-based therapy, and my therapist really helped me to figure out a lot of different coping mechanisms. So the first one being a lot of prayer. God was really there for me whenever I wasn't there for myself and whenever I couldn't find any loving compassion for myself. And then whenever I did find even the tiniest bit of compassion and love for myself, that's whenever I focused more on little me, little Callie.
Mm.
And my therapist told me, I want you to print out a picture and I want you to put it on your mirror every single morning, every single night before you go to bed. You're going to look at her, you're going to talk to her. And then I also had a picture of little me as the screensaver on my phone because I was always on my phone. So anytime that I was going through it, little Callie was always there. And I kept thinking to myself, would you give her a shot? Would you give her a bottle of vodka? Would you give her these pills, a knife, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? And I'm like, no, I wouldn't. Hell no. I would protect her from anything and everything because she didn't deserve that. She did nothing to deserve the type of pain that we're putting ourselves through. So just little me.
That was so at the very end of what you just said. You said we're putting ourselves through, and for me, I mean, I don't know. Maybe I pay attention too much, but it sounds like integration. Whereas like at first, maybe the practice may have felt a little different. Like I'm othered. I'm not her. She's not me. But towards the end, once you start having that compassion for her, it was the compassion that you were able to have for yourself.
I love that.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
I think, and the cool thing about, I don't know, being at a place that you can reflect on those things, I feel like is that seeing of those like different parts of yourself and like starting to like love them in a different way. And gosh, I know just for me that it's been an evolution of that, because there is, this like little girl me inside of me that, it's like I want to take care of in a way that I didn't. And then there's also pre-recovery me. And I'm like, this is like only recent, I feel like, that I'm able to have a different kind of compassion for her too, because I'm like, she was actually trying to take care of that little girl. Like she was actually like the best way she knew how. Like what you said is like the feelings were too much,
right?
And you didn't have anywhere to put them, and you didn't know what to do. And like you were just trying to keep your head above water and survive like a bunch of really hard things happening all at once, and especially during like a hard time in the world, and like you said, a young age. So like all that was happening, and the thing that the tool you had to take care of that little you at that point was substances, because it made the pain go away. And like, even though that became, its own monster, like for me, and obviously you don't have to have this mindset at all, but it helps to look back and be like, oh, I really was doing the best that I could then to take care of me. And now with the tools that I have now, I get to take care of both of them, and I feel like the fact that you are already having those kinds of like, I don't know, that kind of like wisdom is already like, you're able to articulate it is really beautiful and like helpful, I think.
A lot of therapy. A lot of therapy.
Thank goodness for therapy. That's for darn sure.
I feel like therapy is the letter that you write to your future self to help him to take care of you so that you can take care of everybody. Like.
So true. So true. Yeah. Like we're all just getting light here.
Because that's what I was thinking when I'm hearing you, Liz. I'm like, damn, that's too many people to take care of. Shit, like I need to be taken care of to take care of them.
Yeah, one of the mindsets that I actually was instilled over the past year of me being on my sobriety journey was I'm doing the best that I can given the circumstances. So whenever you said that, I was like, I love it.
I love that too. And what a gift to give yourself to be able to say that, even like in this moment.
That's one of the things that I use to help myself to have compassion for those around me. Like everybody's doing the best they can with what they've been given. And there's also one of those things that I can't say aloud in every room because it's almost a guarantee. Somebody's like, no, they can do better.
Yeah.
They can do better. It's like, but when people say that, a lot of times it's like, imagine how this person treats themselves when they go home, you know? So, yeah. So much work to be done, and that has been done. I am curious as to what it's been like on this side of life, showing up, having fun, meeting friends, creating,
being a foodie.
Exactly. Like what has that experience been like for you?
It's been away from like the sobriety. It's been honestly very life-changing because for me, I grew up in a very low-income family. And I really watched my parents struggle to just meet ends meet, paycheck to paycheck. So to be able to create in a way where it kind of fuels my passion, but also it pays the bills and it helps to also pay for my parents' bills. Like it's truly changed and transformed my life, especially whenever I was on my sobriety journey or still am on my sobriety journey, especially at the peak of it, where I felt so alone and so helpless. And that nobody was there for me. I couldn't have been proven any more wrong. That like social media truly transformed it to where I found another family. I found more friends who related to every single thing that I was going through. And I was like, man, like I'm not alone. Like I felt that the entire world was against me. And in fact, it wasn't. I had people out there for me.
Incredible.
Yeah, depending on, I feel like depending on what we look, you think about the algorithm on social media, and I think there's like a universal algorithm as well. And so if I have the energy of like, damn, I can't win for losing, damn, I don't got no family out here, everybody out to get up on each other and all type of stuff like that becomes the algorithm. Like I begin to see like the cognitive bias, I begin to see the different examples of why that's true. But once I embrace the thought or the saying or the emotions that, dang, I ain't even met everybody who's gonna love me yet. Like everywhere I go, like I meet somebody cool, and I got so many people around the world that I continue to meet, and I still haven't met everybody who's gonna love me yet.
Very true.
What have been some of the more challenging things in sobriety that maybe you didn't expect?
That's a great question. So initially, I would say there's a lot of hate on social media, more than what I typically like experience. Of course, whenever you're on social media and you put yourself out there, you're opening that door to millions, billions of people and their opinions, which is a given. I wouldn't say that's what I signed up for, but like, cause nobody deserves to like be treated, or you shouldn't tolerate people's disrespect like that. But of course, like you're opening that door. But regarding sobriety, I was so confused how like I would post about me dumping my alcohol down the drain and me making that decision to choose myself over alcohol, or me choosing, this better way over partying and staying in, taking care of myself rather than going out with others to go to the bar or whatnot, and how I would get comments ranging from just take one sip, like one shot of alcohol is not going to kill you, or like you're sensitive, you're weak, yada, yada, yada. And it's those comments where I'm like, man, the internet really finds anything to like bring some sort of negativity into the positivity.
That's wild.
Listen here.
Give me some screen names, Calli. We'll set them straight. That's what I feel like that also shows. Well, actually, you can probably answer this. Has that evolved? Because, like you're saying with the algorithm, I feel like, you had this one group of people who had found you initially.
Yes.
And then over the past year, as like, this has been like who you are and the part of your identity, like, have you found that like the people who do identify with you have found you and it's a different vibe? Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. There of course are going to be like those stragglers who aren't meant for me or my platforms, but every time like they comment something out of pocket, the supporters, like I love
that's what I was thinking.
They ride or die for me. So anytime there's a hate comment, they're on it. They are on it, especially whenever it comes to something like an insensitive comment regarding sobriety. People in my comment section are always on it to be aware, like this is her journey, like why are you projecting, yada yada yada. So I'm very blessed that I have curated a very safe space for myself, but not only for myself, but also for other people who are dealing with recovery and addiction and sobriety.
Yeah. I think this is a testament to I feel like I actually had a thought today. I'm probably gonna make a piece of content around it where, as a creator, I feel like I oscillate between like having something genuinely to contribute and wanting to be seen. And like, I mean, not everybody has said, but like, there's times where it's like, oh, like that went crazy. Like I got 1 million views on that. Like I'm trying to do that again. Like, ooh, that feel good. But the original reason that I showed up was to contribute and, like you said, create impact, and social media is such an interesting thing. And I think when you said the internet, I was reading this book, I forgot what it's called, but he was talking about like, I think it's called anthropomorphizing,
something like that.
What she said is when we give something a personality. So like the internet, and in all actuality, the internet is a tool. It's a tool, and the people who show up and use it how they use it. But what we see, like there's nothing personal about it. And so I've seen people show up and like get on a journey. Hey, I'm on this fasting journey, or hey, I'm on this journey. And you can tell how much of the the praise and the support that comes from being online and posting that online that person's journey depends on. And recovery is one of those things where like I can't place my dependence. I can't place this on anything that I have no control over.
Really.
You know, because it could all turn around tomorrow. Like everybody could just, you know, the internet, like, oh, we don't like that he's bald. Like, well, shit, I was bald the whole time, but I guess bald is out now, you know? So all my followers gone, you know? Yeah. And I think about like when you shared about the relationship that you were in, where it was like, yo, through this relationship, I was able to see different parts of me and take that and heal it. And then when that relationship was done, like that's where things kind of went downhill. And I'm, you know, I'm gonna get on my little soapbox here in a second, but my girl, she went back home. She's from South Africa. So she went back for about 3 weeks. And before that, we was living together for a few months. And I mean, I was healthy when I met her. You know, I'm in years of recovery and healthy before she moved in. And then when she went home, I realized like how much like the house being clean was dependent on her, how much like me, I mean, you know, it's maybe like taking a shower every, you know what I'm saying, depended on her being here. And I'm like, whoa. And it took about 2 weeks before I was like, yo, I got to take care of me, you know? And so, especially in the realm of creativity, like how do you take care of yourself to make sure that the ways that you show up to contribute to the lives and the internet feed of so many people around the world is coming from a place of you taking care of yourself?
I've always said this time and time again on my social platforms that my social platforms are my digital diary. And even if there's that one person that is loving and relating to the content, even if that's just me, I have to be my loudest cheerleader. So I'm not posting content for anybody but myself. And that's always been the case, because if you're posting for other people, it's not your platform anymore. It's everybody else's platform. And that shouldn't be the case. So for me, it's I post what I post, whatever I post, because I genuinely want to give myself that voice. I want to hear myself. I want to see myself, because maybe I'm talking even through here, and maybe I can't even see or hear my own person. But maybe if I post about it and in that sort of way, it's me being able to amplify my own voice. Like I hear you, Calli. Little Calli, I see you. We understand you. We hear you. We're giving you your voice. So it's always just for me.
That's amazing. That's an amazing perspective.
I don't think I've ever heard that perspective before. I mean, I definitely hear people say that, like, I'm saying the things I needed to hear because I know somebody out there needs to hear it. But like, I'm saying the things I needed to hear because I need to hear myself say those things.
Yeah. Yeah, that's amazing. Because I don't even like watching my own stuff.
Oh no, we gotta fix that. We gotta fix.
I love that.
I mean, maybe there's something there. Thanks for sharing that. That's a different perspective for sure.
That's like a level of self. I feel like we've just overused all these words in this world, but like self-love and self-care and just like self-trust.
Yes,
that is
one.
Beautiful. Oh, well, there you go. You heard it here first. Oh, I was so excited I knocked my water bottle over.
Hey, when you really believe in what you talk about, you break things. That's what happens.
I self-trust that I will knock over every beverage around me.
You know what? I mean, since we done got here, Calli, I guess you about to help me heal too. Because I think a part of why I don't like listening to, watching, reading things that I've done previously is because I know I'm better than him. Like, I know I'm better than him. Like, because there's this thing inside of me that always is aiming to be better than I was previously. And so, like, if I sit and I watch the game tapes all the time and I'm just watching me continuously, like if I was to go back and Liz, I'm sure you sound wonderfully put together and beautiful and amazing
in our old episodes.
But if I go listen to episode 1 of this podcast, it's gonna be like scratching a chalkboard for me. I can tell you right now. Like, I'll probably just, Liz, do you like apples? Like, who knows what we was talking about? You know. So I don't know. I think it's amazing to see you show up so tapped in with yourself and your creativity and your journey and your community and your culture and crawfish. And we really appreciate you coming on here and sharing your journey with us.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the opportunity.
Before we wrap up, because I want to definitely have people are going to want to follow you if they're not already. So I want to make sure we get all those out there. But what's next? Because like I know you said you're kind of taking a little bit of a break of like the academia stuff, even though it all integrates. So like, what's next?
I mean, that's a good question because there's so many different avenues. I'm honestly asking myself what the heck is next for me.
Yeah.
But I think first and foremost, I'm going to go wherever my heart and my passions lie. That's always been the main goal. And wherever I'm needing to heal myself more. So for me, I'm on this really great spiritual journey of healing my generational traumas alongside of being on my sobriety journey. So if that means I have to go back to the places where I left before, like healthcare and medicine, and see like why did I leave there? You know, like what is triggering me, or what am I still traumatized by? Then that means I have to go face that and address that in order for me to finally propel myself into whatever future endeavors I'm needing to go towards. So right now it's focusing on me, little me, generational traumas, and that's all going to propel me to where I'm going to be in the future.
So you're just walking right towards the fire because you're going to prove to yourself that you're fireproof. I love it.
Yep.
No, that's amazing, and we look forward to being a part of your journey, moving forward, as a platform, new forum of Phoenix, and I mean me as an individual creator. I mean, love to do some collaborative content or something like that. However I can support, we're here for it because we just love to see it. We just
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Thank you all so much for giving me the opportunity in this space to amplify my voice and to amplify, this topic, because it's definitely not discussed about enough and it's not normalized enough. I was just talking to my supporters. I made a video even before I came on here, and I said, society, whenever you hear the word sobriety, you automatically think of such a negative connotation, that recovery isn't possible and that people are just so sick and that, they need help. But there's such a beauty in sobriety and recovery that not a lot of people talk about more. So thank y'all for giving me the voice and amplifying my voice to talk about that.
Yeah, no doubt. And you're gonna keep talking. We're gonna keep talking. So I don't know why you keep saying stuff, because a guy I work with, and if he's listening to this episode, he know I'm putting him on blast, but I ain't gonna say his name. But he, for a long time within working with him, he thought that sobriety was a punishment. Like, oh, I can't do this thing. And somewhere along the way for him, like, it clicked. It's like, oh, like I can do whatever I want. I mean, I might die if I do that, but I choose to do this. And in that choice, like he also explains, like, in this, I found things that have made me a better person in general. And like, I wish that more people knew about the things that exist within this that make them a better person, without like necessarily having to go through the desperation that comes with like dealing and wrestling with active addiction, alcoholism, etc. But I think that the switching of the framing of it, but words hold connotations, and people can hear a word and be like, what's wrong with you? But it's, in all actuality, man, walking hand in hand with the spirit of the universe over here. So I don't know what you're talking about.
So true.
Yeah.
Well, for everybody else, Calli, who wants more of you, because I'm sure they will want to follow along, how can they do that?
You can follow me on my Instagram, my TikTok. I also have a YouTube channel that I don't really post a lot more on, but I hope to. It's all at Calli_Nguyen. I'm more active on my TikTok than my Instagram. A lot more of my mental health and sobriety is on my TikTok. But I will say that for anybody that's struggling with addiction, with self-harm, with alcoholism, I have a pinned video celebrating my 1 year of sobriety, and I love to be able to redirect people that if you're struggling, to read the comments and imagine that these comments are all talking to you and hyping you up and telling you that, they're proud of you for staying another day, and they're proud of you for choosing to be here and to continue to be here, because staying on this earth and living this life, it's not easy. So I love to be able to direct people to just read the comments, go through all of them, and just imagine all of these people are talking to you and hyping you up.
Amazing. Well, we appreciate you being here, and we appreciate you all for listening, because if you listened this far, you are definitely our people, and we're yours.
We love you.
We'll catch you on the next episode of the Rise, Recover, Live podcast.